The world teeters on the edge of a potential nuclear crisis, a situation fraught with uncertainty and danger. The threat of nuclear proliferation looms large, casting a shadow over international relations and global security. On July 16, 2025, Iran escalated tensions by issuing its most direct threat yet, a move that has reverberated across the globe and heightened concerns among world leaders. The ultimatum stated that if Western powers reimpose UN sanctions, Tehran will proceed to enrich uranium to weapons-grade levels, reaching a purity of 90%, a threshold that signifies a clear intent for nuclear weapon development. Furthermore, Iran indicated it may withdraw from the Nuclear Non-Proliferation Treaty, a cornerstone of international efforts to prevent the spread of nuclear weapons. This would unravel decades of diplomatic work. This ultimatum is a direct response to the US, France, Germany, and the UK, who have set an August deadline for a new nuclear deal aimed at curbing Iran's nuclear ambitions, or face the return of snapback sanctions, a mechanism designed to quickly reimpose previous penalties. Earlier this year, tensions escalated when US airstrikes targeted Iran's nuclear sites, a move that was condemned by some as a violation of international law and an act of aggression, shattering cooperation and prompting Iran to suspend international monitoring by the IAEA, raising concerns about transparency and the ability to verify Iran's nuclear activities. Now Iran frames its threats as a response to perceived Western violations and broken promises, positioning itself as a victim rather than an aggressor. The stakes are enormous. Maximum pressure from the West could mean maximum escalation from Tehran, potentially leading to a dangerous and unpredictable spiral of events. Iran's foreign ministry warns it will respond appropriately and proportionately to any new sanctions, signaling a firm stance and a willingness to retaliate. The world is left watching, as a single miscalculation, a misinterpreted signal, or an act of aggression could trigger a devastating conflict with far-reaching consequences. The August deadline isn't just a date, it's a potential turning point in nuclear history, a moment that could either lead to de-escalation and diplomacy, or plunge the world into a new era of nuclear proliferation. The clock is ticking, and the world holds its breath. To understand the gravity of the current crisis, let's break down the complex process of uranium enrichment. It's a crucial step in the nuclear fuel cycle, and understanding it is key to grasping the stakes. Natural uranium, as it's mined from the Earth, contains less than 1% of the specific isotope needed to sustain nuclear chain reactions. That's U-235. This isotope is the key ingredient for both nuclear power and weapons. Enrichment increases the concentration of U-235, typically using sophisticated centrifuge technology. Nuclear power plants need uranium with only 3 to 5% U-235 purity. Iran is already enriching uranium to 60% purity, a level far beyond any conceivable civilian energy needs. This raises serious concerns about the true intentions behind their nuclear program. The leap from 60% to 90%, which is weapons-grade uranium, is technically a small step, but geopolitically, it's a massive and dangerous escalation. 90% purity effectively means bomb material, ready to be fashioned into a nuclear weapon. Iran's repeated threats to reach this level signals that they are prepared to cross the ultimate red line, with potentially catastrophic consequences. With a significantly large stockpile of 60% enriched uranium already accumulated, and the deployment of increasingly advanced centrifuge technology, Iran possesses the capability to move very quickly towards producing weapons-grade uranium if it chooses to do so. This is precisely why alarm bells are ringing so loudly in capitals worldwide. The entire nuclear non-proliferation regime, painstakingly built over decades, is now under direct and immediate threat. The current crisis surrounding Iran's nuclear ambitions didn't materialize overnight. This has been years in the making, a slow burn of escalating tensions and broken agreements. The 2015 nuclear deal, also known as the JCPOA, was designed to curb Iran's nuclear program and prevent the development of nuclear weapons. It offered sanctions relief in exchange for verifiable limits on Iran's enrichment capabilities. However, the U.S. withdrawal from the agreement in 2018 under the Trump administration marked a turning point, unraveling years of diplomatic efforts. This withdrawal triggered a spiral of escalating tensions, with renewed sanctions imposed by the U.S., and a gradual rollback of Iran's commitments under the nuclear deal. Recent U.S. airstrikes aimed at deterring Iran's nuclear activities have ultimately failed to halt its progress. These actions have only served to further complicate the situation, because knowledge once acquired can't be bombed away. The expertise and infrastructure remain, posing a persistent challenge. In response, Iran has taken increasingly provocative steps, including blocking international inspectors from accessing key nuclear sites and significantly ramping up its uranium enrichment activities. In June 2025, the International Atomic Energy Agency, or IAEA, declared Iran in non-compliance with its obligations for the first time in 2 decades, raising serious concerns about the direction of its nuclear program. Now, the US and Europe, deeply concerned by these developments, have set a critical August deadline. Iran must resume full cooperation with international monitoring efforts and significantly reduce its enriched uranium stockpile, or face the reimposition of crippling global sanctions. Tehran, feeling cornered and under immense pressure, has responded by issuing its own ultimatum, further escalating the stakes. The world now stands at a critical crossroads, with the potential for either a peaceful resolution or a dangerous escalation. The next move, whether it be diplomacy or confrontation, could very well define the future of nuclear diplomacy and the stability of the region. The West's main leverage is the snapback mechanism, an automatic return of UN sanctions if Iran violates the deal. No Security Council vote is needed. Russia and China can't block it. Snapback would devastate Iran's economy. Arms embargoes, banking restrictions, and bans on nuclear technology. Tehran calls this illegal, blaming the West for breaking promises first. For Iran, snapback is existential. Crippling sanctions could push it to abandon all nuclear limits. Western powers hope this pressure forces Iran back to talks, but it's a gamble. Too much pressure could push Iran to dash for a bomb. The stakes couldn't be higher. If Iran enriches to 90% or leaves the NPT, the consequences could be catastrophic. The US and Israel have vowed to prevent an Iranian bomb. Military conflict is a real risk. A regional war would disrupt global energy and draw in world powers. NPT withdrawal would shatter the treaty's credibility, possibly sparking a nuclear arms race in the Middle East. Saudi Arabia and Turkey might seek their own nuclear weapons, the global balance of power would be upended, and the risk of nuclear conflict would soar. This crisis is a test for the entire world. The decisions made by August will shape the future of global security.